Hey everybody, it's Tara here with Beyond This Reality Incorporated, and I'm just gonna get right into it because I have like a funny story for you today. Um, a funny correlation is what I'm just gonna say, okay? And what my analogy is here to show you is like sometimes we're the ones who are really getting in. It's probably always, but sometimes it's really obvious that we're the ones who are getting in the way of having the life that we desire, but we don't always realize that some of the choices that we're making are cutting it off. So my correlation, hair. So obviously I have short hair. My hair is actually growing out because normally it's like above my ears and pretty layered and all this. Now I used to have long hair. I grew up always having long hair, and it wasn't until in my 20s that I got it to here, and then I just went short. And here's the thing. So I keep saying, probably for the last 3 or 4 years, I would like to have long hair. And so I go into having long hair for maybe an additional 3 or 4 weeks after I would normally get a haircut. And then it's awkward and weird and I don't like it. And I go into all these things like I can't have long hair because my hair is thin or flat or whatever. I've always had the same hair. I always had the same hair. So the thing is like when you have super short hair, there's layers that grow out and it doesn't have all like the depth of all the hair. And so you have to go through some awkward stages. And so I was sharing this with somebody I love, and he was like, well, you kind of have to stop cutting your hair, just stop cutting it. And so I got to a stage in like right now where I'm at, there's parts of my hair like I really, really hate. And he's like, don't cut it, just leave it. If you have to wear a hat, wear a hat. You're never going to have long hair if you keep cutting your hair. It's just as simple as that. And it sounds really simple, right? But we can come up with all these excuses like, oh, well, if only I have the vision of long hair, but in order to get to long hair, I've got to go through medium. Well, that's even still short, all these different stages to get to whatever stage I really want to end at. And they're awkward and they take longer than you desire. And yet, like, if you just keep going, you're eventually going to get there. And then you get to play with how you would like it to be. So hair, I'm not really talking about hair here, but I want to bring this analogy to like how you're growing your business or how you're growing your relationship. What ways are you cutting off the growth in your business because you're going into an awkward stage? What ways are you cutting off the growth or the play or the fun in your relationship because it feels awkward and strange and it's different from before? And so you're constantly going back to how you used to do it because that's where you're comfortable. Are you willing to go through the awkward to be seen in the awkward? Because like with your hair, like you can't help it. I can't wear a hat everywhere. I'm going to have to go out. People are going to see that like I'm in an awkward stage. And, the willingness to be like, yeah, totally, this is where I'm at, or not even say anything. Same thing happens in a relationship or in your business where you go through this stage that just feels super uncomfortable. You feel seen in the uncomfortable. We don't want to be seen in the uncomfortable, right? We're okay to be seen when we've already like mastered it or we've already gone through the ick. And we can get to the other side and be like, yeah, I did this in my business and it was not so fun, but nobody else had to see it. Or I did this in my relationship and this is where we're at and nobody else had to see it. But the reality is in the things that really matter, especially a relationship, there just is ick. There is awkward. And some of the most amazing pieces of being in a relationship is the fact that you stick with it even through the ick and the awkward. Same thing with a business, same thing with your hair. If you want to get somewhere else that you are not now, are you willing to play and have fun with the awkward places? What if it doesn't have to be hard in the awkward places? You just really have fun and be like, okay, cool. So what kind of other things are available during this time that I can bring into my business or my relationship that I haven't ever allowed myself to, that would just bring more play, laughter, and everything else into it. So what ways have you been cutting off your business, your relationship, anything, that if you stopped doing it and just allowed yourself to go into the awkward, to the icky, and be seen in it, that you could actually have some fun with those stages and not just be about the end result? Like, what if it could be totally fun in those stages and you could learn even more or experience even more than you ever thought possible in those in-between stages? What if you learned more about yourself in those stages than if you went from, I mean, some people can go out there and they can hyper grow, right? So if I wanted to, I could go out and get extensions and boom, like that, I would have long hair. I don't want to do that. Like, I don't want to do that. I don't want to even do that with my business. I want it to be organic. Now, that doesn't mean that my business or my relationship can't have expansive growth that's organic. I'm totally open to that. Same thing with my hair. If my hair decides that it wants to grow even faster, I'm really good with that. But I want to experience what it's like when it's coming from me, right? And so are you willing to experience what it's like coming from you and not be destination addicted, that you're totally embodying the whole journey, the good and the awkward? So, all right. So thanks for letting me bring a totally silly correlation in to business relationships. Because really, for me, every part of life is an invitation for expansion. So it's not just listening to podcasts or going through, working through my stuff. I learn it from my kids. I learn it from hair. I learn it from comments. I learn it from all over the place. Like, it's constantly a space of expansion that can be inviting us into experiencing life even more, embodying who we are, and being invited into the richest, most amazing creation of life that we could ever imagine possible. What if what you desire right now, here today, could be expanded exponentially if you just were able to say yes to more things that are awkward to you? Like, if you would be willing to build through those moments, to experience through them, to play through them. That's my invitation to you today. And I'd love to know your comments, even if they're silly.